moving from the AFC back into the NFC. Kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Kind of could tell about my frustration too. There will be none, zero, zilch, nada, no Cinderella story in the NFC playoffs. Okay, on the NFC side of the playoffs, you will not see any Cinderella story. So the past two or 3 years in the playoffs on the NFC side, we saw the Niners in 2021 as the 6th seed make it to the NFC Conference Championship game. And then in 2020, we saw Tampa Bay win the Super Bowl as the 5th seed. So in, again, 2 of the last 3 seasons, we saw a Cinderella type like story, lower seed playoff team going in and making it to either the conference or even the Super Bowl. Now, this year's competition is way too high. At the top to make a deep run this year, Dallas, LA, Seattle make the lower seeds in this year's playoffs on the NFC side. And I honestly can't see any of them going past San Fran, Philly, Detroit. I mean, I don't really see when I add
San
Philly, Detroit.
Francisco.
When I add Philly and Detroit in there, it's just because they're the 2 and 3 seed. But if I'm being honest, I don't see much of anybody getting past. It's mainly the Niners and the Eagles. That's pretty much it. I don't see Dallas and the Rams and the Seahawks getting past that. Dallas has way too many questions. Now, could we? Absolutely. We absolutely can. Again, we have the personnel to make it that far. We should have been doing it for the past however many years.
Well, that's why being a Cowboys fan is so frustrating, is you can't say, damn, man, we lined up against the 49ers. They were just more talented. You guys got all the talent in the world. I think we have a massive upgrade over head coach, and not to hijack the podcast, but I would love to have a discussion at some point. We don't have to do it today, but I want you to tell me, watching the kind of offense that Mike McCarthy has tried to put into the Cowboys with his 3 yards in a cloud of dirt, run, keep the opposing defense off the field, and tell me who failed in Green Bay. Was it Mike or was it Aaron Rodgers? And I'd like to have that discussion later, because what I see Mike McCarthy, I've seen Dak light it up this year, and we saw Aaron Rodgers light it up a lot. But when push comes to shove and the pressure creeps in, all of a sudden he reverts back a little bit to this fullback run and the halfback dive shit that just doesn't play in today's NFL. So I don't mean to hijack it. We don't have to do that right now, but it's just something I'd like, because I have watched my team beat up on Mike McCarthy for years. We've beat up on the Cowboys in recent years. We beat up on the Packers in the playoffs in recent years. And I'm not a big believer. So I'd like to have that conversation at some point.
Yeah, and I think that it's definitely a conversation worth having. And when looking at how the playoffs, if the weeks ended today, and how they would actually transpire, Dallas will be playing at Tampa Bay, and I think that's a game that Dallas can pretty
easily,
can actually win, handle it, move on, don't worry about it, right? But also, we go out to those games and we lose to goddamn Arizona and Josh Dobbs, right? So we lose those type of games as well, but we should win that game pretty easily. The Rams at Detroit, that's when I can see the Rams winning.
Isn't that
that's one where I can see it go. I think that one is one that could take them further. Philly and Seattle, we've seen this. It's Seattle at Philly. Remind me again, where was the game at? Was it Seattle or was it Philly last time?
It was in Seattle with Drew Lock. That's
a little different.
Eagles wrap that up.
Yeah, so it's a little bit, it's easier to say it's Philly on that side. And then at that point, again, you're looking at those top 2 teams, San Francisco and Philly. I don't really see much getting past them at that point. I don't see the Rams or Dallas getting past the divisional at all. Dallas is a divisional poverty team, is what I like to call them. In 25 years on this earth, I've never seen them get past the divisional since I've been watching football at a very young age, because I was indoctrinated to be a Cowboys fan. I've never seen them get past the divisional, ever. Not one single time. There's been games where we should have, and we never have. And we've had the personnel, we've had the talent to do it in years past, and we have it this year. But again, we just won't see it with any of these teams, Dallas, LA, or Seattle. No, none of those three teams are going to get past that divisional round.
Well, the problem with the Cowboys is you have to go on the road, and if you guys beat Tampa Bay, which hey, let's pretend we're betting here. No, nobody's taking the Cowboys to lose that game.
Yeah,
If none of the
absolutely.
lower seeds win, then you got to go on the road to Levi's. You got to play the
Yeah,
49ers. If one of the lower seeds win, then you got to go on the road to Philly. You got to play the Eagles. Let's say you win that game. Let's say you beat the Eagles. Now you've been on the road to Tampa Bay. You've been on the road to Philadelphia. You got to go on the road to the 49ers. That's tough, man. That's why the first seed
yeah,
is so valuable, because we get to play it.
absolutely.
The team gets to. I won't say we because we haven't won it yet, but I mean, let me ask you though, like, do you feel better about coming to sunny California? It might be raining, or do you feel better about going to Philadelphia where it could be a blizzard? Because they have the quarterback for the
Um,
blizzard game.
they do. They do. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel a little bit more nervous about going to Philly, obviously, for the weather purposes of it. Now, when it comes to the atmosphere and the fans and whatnot, I know this is going to sound weird, but I am more scared to go to Levi's because of how the Niners have played this year in their own stadium with their own fans. I'm a little bit more nervous to play them if they have the first seed in Levi's. But when it comes to the weather in December, January, I am going to be nervous about going to Philly.
Are you going to go to the game with me?
Do I want to be sad? Do
Hey,
I want to be upset?
that's a long ride back if y'all win. That's a lot of hooping and hollering. Nothing matters the past couple. If you guys beat the 49ers in advance, all the dominance doesn't matter. It's the same thing with the Rams.
Yeah.
If the Rams beat us in the playoffs, they did. We beat them
Yeah.
100 games in a row, and we dropped an interception. They beat us. The dominance didn't matter anymore. So, you know
Yeah.
what's very interesting?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, you're good.
right now the Chiefs have to play the Bills in the first round. I bet the Chiefs are
Oh,